Welcome, everyone, to Ag Tech with Andrew, podcast for Farms.com. And I'm joined today with Carlos Ribeiro from Sensix. Carlos, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and talk a little bit about Sense and what we are doing here in Brazil. And basically, we're a company, a Brazilian company based in Uberlândia. It's a central region in Brazil, just in the middle of all the huge areas of agriculture that we have here, especially when you talk about commodities like soybeans, corn, cotton, and sugarcane. And we are a company that actually have a very clear mission that is transform farmers into data-driven environments, basically. So we have a software. It's SaaS, now software as a service that we can offer to growers and producers. Right now, we have more than 3 million hectares that are monitored by our software right now in Brazil. And basically, what we do is to gather all the data that when you talk about layers like machine data, soil analysis, so remote sensing data. And once you have all these together, we get all this information and propose some better decisions to growers, to clients that actually uses our software. So this is the first statement to do here.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. And we were talking earlier. You're working with some very, very large growers, and we'll go into that a little bit later. But kind of wanted you to go into a little bit more detail on all the different data levels that you're gathering and what that looks like in a visual, and then how that integrates into the farming plan. Is there prescriptions that can be done from this information? Just go into a little bit more detail. So our audience that's farm based, they can get a good understanding of all the different levels of data that's really important to get this effective picture of how to be really to get more out of your soil and your yield.
Yeah, sure. Well, when you talk about data in agriculture, we talk about basically how to take better decisions. So there is a term that we are using very much here in Brazil. That's decision agriculture. So basically, what you need to do is to get all these data together, and the final reason that we have to extract it from this is basically good decisions. When you talk about decisions, probably the main part of this is how much that's gonna cost for the farmers and how much they get from this. So the return of investment, basically. So when you talk about this, we created decision agriculture roadmap. It's basically a methodology where we have all this information from different platforms, and then we have an analysis. Here in Brazil, we say correlational grid, basically. So it's basically we use a AI statistics algorithms to consolidate all this information, compare data, and see actually what's going on in the farm. So the farmers needs to focus on what they have to do first. So prioritize what actually is taking bushes out from their yields, and then that's what we do. So basically, we take data from machinery like yield maps, like planting count and the population of plants. We get data from the oil consume. Uh, how can I say that in English? Sorry for my English for now. We get data
That's
from
okay.
soil analysis, remote sensing, planes, everything that actually they use every day. But when you get all this information together, basically we can say exactly what they have to do to get more yields in there. So basically, is that we see that there are a lot of quick wins. Okay, you get a soil analysis, and then we get a prescription for fertilizers. Okay, that's good. but we are trying to do more with that. So once we have this all these layers, uh, there is a uh, there is a study that actually says that we have more than 700 variables that actually influences the yields. So what we're trying to do is get all these layers together and then prioritize what they have to do. Basically, is this. So not many platforms, just one platform to get all this data and then get the job done when and what is needed to do there. So basically, is this. Okay.
Some of that data that you're collecting is coming from other sources. You integrate with some other ones. Tell us about what other platforms you're integrating with, and how that is actually making it more effective for what you guys have to offer.
Okay. Well, we have five main blocks of data that actually we process. The first one is the remote sensing. So this is fully operated by our platform that's called Field Scan. So we have data from radar, from PlanetScope, from a lot of different satellites, and we get layers like soil moisture, like soil temperature, NDVI, and a lot of things like that. Also, the second block would be the soil analysis. This is fully generated by Sensix as well. So this is physical samples. So the farmers or the crop consultants go to the fields and then collect the samples and send to a laboratory. Then we integrate the results inside our platform, and you know exactly what's the fertility, soil fertility looks like. Then the third block would be the weather. So we integrate right now. We integrate with weather stations. So we have more than 10 different integrations with weather station companies like Davies, like Metals, like a lot of different companies that actually collect data from weather. And also the fourth block would be the machinery data. So we integrate with Climate Field View, with Operation Center from John Deere, CNH Field Ops. So basically, most of the telemetry machinery telemetry that we have in the market. So we get data from this machinery as well. And the fifth block would be the we call here that's field nodes basically. So what's going to do what kind of inputs enter every day in the fields, pests and diseases, all kind of field nodes that we have, we can integrate inside this as well. And there are specific companies like Farmbox that we have here, Syngenta, they have a crop-wise protector that we can use as well, and a lot of other different companies. So it's more than 50 integrations that we get here to make all these five blocks generating data, and then we get this data, we calibrate this data to make it together inside our platform. So integration is key. It's very hard to compete, for example, with John Deere when you talk about operation center machinery data. So we really have to make it easier to the farmers. So basically, it's this. Yes, integration is key. We get all this data together, five blocks generating data, and then we get almost everything that we need to make our analysis.
Wow. So a lot of data coming in, a lot of information that you're crunching together that's really turning into a good picture on what's next on the farm. Now, you mentioned earlier some of the big farmers you're working with. Can you tell us a little bit more about kind of the scale that you're dealing with? And with these companies, what kind of results are they getting from you?
All right. Well, in Brazil, actually, most of our clients are larger producers. One of them, for example, it's is actually a client and also a partner. That's SLC Agrícola. It's a public company in Brazil. They are probably the largest soybean producers in the world. They grow like 800,000 hectares every year, and these guys have a really high level high professional level when you talk about data and process inside their farms. First of all, we learn a lot from them to understand really what actually needs to be done and what's the priority in the farms. And as it's a huge scale, we have fields like just one field with more than 1,000 hectares. So I'm talking hectares here, but I know in the United States it's okay in acres, but it's like 2.5 thousand acres with just one field. So it's crazy how we need to go directly in scale to make sense for these large farmers. So basically, it's this. So we have large soybean producers, also large cotton producers, and sugarcane producers. All this guy are huge. There's a really problem with connectivity inside their farms. Most of these farms are located in Mato Grosso, for example. It's a state there is no much connectivity, so we need to deal with this. Of course, with Starlink right now, it's a lot easier for these farms to get this data inside our servers. Scale is key for sure when you talk about these producers here. One thing that I believe that Brazil help us is the ability to have more than one season per year. So we have a first season that actually starts in October and go through until February, more or less. And then we have a second season. And as we have a lot of irrigation as well, sometimes we have three seasons in just 1 year in the same field. So it gives us opportunity to iterate more with more time. We have more opportunity to integrate our product as well. So it helps a lot. So give us more scale, more speed, for example, as well to develop our roadmap here. So that's it. Scale is key for sure, but also, of course, we have a lot of smaller producers as well with 100 hectares, mainly from southern Brazil. We have a lot of rice growers as well actually using our platform. Last year, we went to United States as well. We made a trip in Indiana and Illinois to know a little bit more about U.S. producers as well. We see there are some differences between the management compared with Brazilian farmers as well, but I think it's something manageable. And when you talk agronomic, basically it's plant health, plant growing. So most of these difference actually is manageable to go. So we have this intention to go to United States maybe in some years, but of course we have to be prepared to the farmers there as well. So basically, it's this. There are some differences in the markets, but it's manageable and it's a good challenge to go through.
Yeah. So with your obviously coming into the U.S. market, there's going to be a messaging that you want to get there. You've got obviously some big growers already in the Brazilian market, but there's always room for new customers.
Sure.
What is your message to growers? How do we get that message out that it's going to be with it? What's the differentiating factor for you guys, and what makes it make sense for them to integrate it into their operations?
Well, I think right now, especially, we have a time with very tough margins when you talk about agriculture. So costs and we need to control the costs, optimize cost at maximum, and of course, technology is going to be the best way to go through this optimization. So basically, we see that farmers need to use this technology, but use technology with purpose, actually, to be practical when you talk about optimizing costs. So um, this the, this approach that we're trying to make here in Brazil, I think it's going to be um, something important to every kind of grower with every kind of crops as well. So optimize cost at maximum to maximize margin. So in the end of the day, this is the main purpose for everyone that wants to be in the business, you know. So uses technology to optimize cost and maximum, but also to understand where you can be better with your management, managing your crops. So increase yields. Increase yields is not always something that farmers have all the control about. So it's about climate, it's about a lot of things that they don't have control. But cost is something that they can optimize at maximum. I see that in Brazil we have much more uh, space for these optimizations because a good part of them they don't even do something like variable rate prescriptions for fertilizers, for example. In United States, we see that the rules are a little higher, so uh, it's harder to find a really good optimization to be done in there. But there are something that we can do for sure. So our message is basically uses technology with purpose, basically. So optimize costs, increase yields, try to mitigate risks in something that you can't control, and uses technology to do all these things. So maybe that's the best message that we could provide to our clients and to the market.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about what the kind of the pricing process is, what your cost platform is, if growers were interested in getting involved? What's how does that work?
Well, actually depends on what kind of services that they gonna acquire from Sensix. The first one is basically it's a SaaS platform that we charge per hectare per year. So it's manageable for all the sizes of the farms. So basically, it's something very manageable when with farmers are habituated actually to do. So in Brazil, it's like I would say in reais, it's like average about 10 reais per hectare. That would be like $3 per hectare per year. It's something very manageable for the clients to have this software to
Yeah, for
manage.
sure.
And also, we have another thing that we are creating right now. We call this DA consulting, so decision agriculture consulting. We see that it's not just about technology, it's about also people in the process. So if I just go for a farm and okay, get my technology and do whatever you want, maybe I say maybe they don't get the best results with that technology. So what we're doing right now is to deliver the whole process, people, process, methodology, and also technology. So we have a network of crop consultants, DA consultants, as we say, all around Brazil that are actually delivering consultancy and process and also operational tasks to the farm so they can use this technology with the maximum return for them. So for this kind of consultants, we it's like a half bag. In Brazil, we say half bag, so that would be half bushel per acre, something like this. So, of course, the cost it's a lot more because we have presence with people going to the fields, and actually helping the farmers to do that. But of course, it's all based in return of investment. So we have at least five times return to the clients that we get in. So it needs to be clear from the beginning to them what they will have of outcome from this process. So basically, is this how we actually operate here?
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, I really appreciate your time, Carlos. And just if people want to get more information, how can they reach out? What's the best way for them to learn more about Sensix? Is there, what's your best way for someone to get involved?
Well, actually, you have our website. You can just go through a website. It's already translated. It's not just in Portuguese, but also in English and Spanish as well. And then we have a free use. You can just go make your sign up in there in FieldScan, and then we have 100 hectares to 250 acres. Yeah, so you can use our platform. Of course, we're gonna have some remote sensing products and also soil analysis, and you can just test with this area. And if you like this, of course, we have a team here in Brazil that can make some calls, explain a little bit more what kind of outputs you can get from there, and also use our platform in your day. If you have more than 100 hectares, you can just contract our platform and use that every day in their farms. With time, maybe next year or in 2 years, we're gonna go with this new DA consultants also to United States. We see that's a good way to go as well. But for now, you can use our software uh, very easily through our website with no problem.
That's perfect. Well, I really appreciate your time. Again, Carlos, if you guys want more information, you can connect with Carlos at sensix.ag. You can reach out to him there. And I want to thank you for your time and looking forward to seeing what comes up next with you guys. It's been really a pleasure talking to you. You have a great day.
Thank you very much, Andre. It was a pleasure to be here with you. You have a very day as well.